Uh, Welcome everyone to the Re-Orienting Taste Project. We are very excited here at Ahmedabad University at the Center for Inter-Asian Research to be hosting such a unique and innovative project. We are especially delighted that we have with us two eminent practitioners of traditional Chinese medicine and Ayurveda. Dr. Chan Chi-Han is from Hong Kong, and he is a practitioner of TCM. He brings many years of knowledge, both in terms of practice and academic experience, to the what he does with his patients. And I do want to say that I have a personal engagement with the two doctors in different ways, that I have taken TCM from Dr. Chan for many years and now transitioned directly into Ayurveda treatment through someone recommended by Dr. Nitya. So I feel like I'm the person who's the guinea pig in this project, on whom you can experiment with both of these amazingly ancient medical systems. So I want to say a few words about how this project came about. Two or three points. One, that it builds on previous India-China or Indian-Chinese explorations into cultural practice and cultural traditions. One that all of you know about is the Saath project, where I used to bring every year Indian vocal musicians from India to Hong Kong and to different parts of China to collaborate with musicians who, the instrumentalists of Chinese music and also vocalists. So finally, after 5 years of collaboration, that has resulted in an album that was released last month. The album is called Resemblance, Re/Semblance. And you know the English word resemblance, which means something similar to, referring to similarity. So I feel that this project on reorienting taste, looking at medicine through food, is also about resemblance. It is seeing similarity in difference. And when you see similarity in difference, it's a way of exploring the unknown for both sides, I think. It's a way of bringing cultural experiences together and learning from each other in the present. Because very often we learn in the present by invoking long histories of engagement that have become invisible in the present. So this is one small effort to bring those histories together once again. And we have here, of course, the wonderful duo of Edible Archives. So this is my second point about the people. It happened because of the people involved. I've already mentioned these two wonderful doctors of Ayurveda and traditional Chinese medicine. And I come now to the anchors of the entire project, Edible Archives, which is the name of Anumitra and Shalini's restaurant and the larger project that they have. I think that we have a lot of material about these people on our website, so I'm not going to go into their biodata right now. It is too long and too complicated. But basically, they are really the foremost practitioners of, in the food industry today in India, who are also thinking in much larger context about the question of sustainability, the question of food history, the question of, the sociology of food. Very interesting issues that even us academics are, quite fascinated by, which is they're doing through the practice of running the restaurant and eating and cooking certain kinds of food. They too have a fascination with Hong Kong, China, the Chinese food culture, etc. And that's why they have, agreed to anchor this project. So they have experimented already when they went to Suzhou and Shanghai, also a little bit in Hong Kong a couple of years ago. They experimented with cooking Chinese food and also cooking via Indian spices, or, I think it's very difficult to say it's a fusion experiment. It's not. And this is how the music project also was. It was not fusion. It was trying to get two kinds of histories to engage with one another. And I think that is what Edible Archives is going to be doing through this project. Couple of other small points. One, I think that we are all here very interested in understanding the underlying concepts of Ayurveda and TCM in relation to food. So that is the anchoring point here. We recognize the centrality of food, that is what we cook, what we eat, to healing, to preventive medicine and to curative medicine. In the ancient texts of Ayurveda and TCM, there's a lot of writing about food. And in those of us who have been able to avail of the TCM and Ayurveda, know that always diet and the food that we consume is a part of what the doctors tell you when they're trying to either prevent something from happening to you or trying to cure a disease that you have. So this is broadly to set the context for our conversation. We are going to have a series of 4 conversations. This is the very first one. And I now hand over to Edible Archives to begin the conversation.
Thank you. I'm Shalini. This is Odumitra. Thank you for bringing us together, all of us together, to be part of this. We're both very excited to be talking to both the doctors about these two very different but also two systems, knowledge systems that have roots very close together, both very old systems with similar roots that have grown into their own trees. So I think as an introduction, I'd like to just quickly talk a little bit about where our interest in both these knowledge systems came from, and also in the process recap some of the similarities and differences between them to hopefully set the tone for the rest of the conversation. So as I said that both traditional Chinese medicine and Ayurveda are extremely ancient systems of practicing medicine, and they have similar roots, in the sense that we feel that the originating principles are similar, even if the ways in which they have grown and are practiced are now quite different. So one of the main things that we found in common is that both of them address an entire way of life. Both these systems are, unlike, say, allopathic medicine or some of the others that we know of, it is not about the body or the mind or the season or the food as separate entities. There is a holistic approach to everything. And the main focus is on how to balance all of these things together, balance an entire life. In this case, that also includes what you eat, the seasons in which you are, like the seasons as they change, in which you exist as you change, the body types as they change, all of these things. The second major similarity in both of them is that the main focus is on the human being. Not, for example, when you have a cold or something and then everybody starts saying, okay, so then this virus or this bacteria, and let's evict it from the body. That's not the approach. The idea is that, okay, here is a human body, it has a cold. Now, the cold is a manifestation of how the body's balance has been changed. And how my body's balance might change can be different from how another person's body's balance might change, even if both of us have the cold, right? So it is that both the treatment and the approach is based on the human body, and there are in both knowledge systems there are clear categorizations of types of human bodies. I'm sure both doctors will have more to say about that. So these were two major points of similarity that we saw. The other major approach that interested us was, as you said, that the doctors will tell you that food is an important part of your healing. The food can be an element of the balance in your body. It can be used as an instrument for healing, but it is also something that is every day all of us eat. And there is a conscious effort through these systems to eat in a way that it brings your body into balance. This is where our interest in both Ayurveda and traditional Chinese medicine started. And we are both very keen to learn more from the doctors about this. So if you like, we can go on to the first question, where basically I'd invite both Dr. Nitya and Dr. Khan to talk about the like in their respective knowledge systems, what is the 5-element structure? Because this is something that both knowledge systems have in common. A sense of 5 elements that underpins the entirety of the knowledge system.
Hi everyone, it's my honor, and I came here as a learner to sharing my knowledge and experience. So I'll go on with Chinese. 頭先咧講嗰個他住一開始嘅時候咧，有一句説話叫 similarity in difference。咁其實中醫有句説話好似嘅，就叫以常達變。其實中醫係一個即係好有邏輯性同埋科學嘅系統，佢係用實證去經驗嘅。咁以下咧，我就會即係用五行去貫穿，同埋去介紹氣啦、五行啦，即係去好 brief 咁樣解釋一下呢句説話。咁咧氣咧就係中醫嗰個能量咧係統稱為氣。咁其實佢就貫穿一個五行嘅系統。咁個五行咧基本就叫金木水火土，我哋就叫做木火土金水。所以喺呢個圖咧就係我即係用咗20年啦，由我讀書開始咧就用到而家，每一天用，每一秒鐘用嘅。咁呢個圖咧可以解釋一個叫生理同埋個病理、養生同埋一啲即係其他嘅資訊都可以喺呢一個圖嗰度揾到。咁我哋睇到咧有即係5個圓形啦，咁其實佢就分別代表5個subset， 即係如果係數學上面叫 subset 咯。咁佢basically 就將全個世界嘅所有嘅物質咧，就將佢劃分為5份。因為氣係流動嘅，其實最有趣嘅地方咧就係我哋見到氣係貫穿喺呢一個圖嗰度。而中間有趣呢個就係星形，星形就係講緊病嘅傳變。譬如舉個例子，木喺紫色嗰個木啦，同埋藍色嗰個土啦。我哋一般咧肝木就代表肝臟，如果肝有病嘅時候咧，佢就會我哋叫黑，即係影響到下一個內臟就叫做土，即係脾胃啦。所以肝病嘅人咧，好容易就會有胃痛。咁如果喺生理上面咧，譬如嗰個土咧，即係藍色嗰個金色嘅脾胃咧，就會相生去金，即係肺。咁如果喺現實咧，就係如果我哋一般腸胃好好、吸收好好嘅朋友咧，佢嗰個肺氣都係會充足嘅。因為我係醫師咧，咁所以成日睇咧都係病嗰個軌跡會多啲嘅。今日我就即係嘗試 focus 喺嗰個生理同埋嗰個味道啊、食物嗰方面，即係利用呢個圖。因為呢個咧係即係比較大嘅 topic，咁我試下用一兩個平日常生活嘅例子去解釋。譬如中國人咧有個食物叫糖醋骨，咁就係用甜同埋酸去做平衡嘅。咁我哋就睇佢個紫色啦，即係酸啦，同埋個甜嗰度。其實呢兩個咧係互相克制嘅，所以作為個廚師嚟講咧，佢哋就將控制呢兩個味道，咁就去平衡做一個好嘅菜式啦。
Could you please tell us which of these colors are the 5 elements, because we can't read the characters?
Oh,
so the purple one is which? Yeah.
The purple one is wood.
Okay.
And we're talking about the purple one.
Yes.
And the blue one.
And the blue
so
one
the
is
purple one is purple one is wood, and the,
yes.
The blue one is earth.
Earth. And the green and white?
Green and white, it's a fire. Green is fire, white
Green
is
fire.
lung, metal, and black is water.
Okay, thank you so much.
同一個例子喺個壽司嗰度，壽司嘅飯都係咁樣嘅。 用糖同醋即係去控制。咁仲有好多例子嘅，即係譬如酸辣湯啊，即係喺大陸同香港常食嘅酸辣湯咧，咁都係其中一個 sample 啦。咁酸就係木啦，辣就係金啦，即係行紫色同白色嗰條線啦。最得意啲嘅就係我哋好少見到咧喺雙生嗰度發生嘅，即係如果喺食物嗰度，通常咧都係雙黑嘅。即係譬如舉個例子，我哋又好少用甜同苦製作埋一齊嘅，即係火同埋土啊，即係紫色同綠色。所以你哋可以再喺你哋平時食開嘅嘢嗰度咧，再配對一下。
Sorry, Nitya, before you go ahead, I want to say that Kelvin, what we need to know and what Anumitra wants to know is not so much about the colors, but whether each one of these elements also represents a taste.
That's what I wanted to say. That's all.
Yeah.
I wanted to clarify that.
So I think that he said wood is sour, earth is sweet, fire is bitter, metal is spicy, and water is what? I mean, did I get this right? I was taking notes. Water is salty.
Correct. 所以我作個小結咧，就係通常個醫生咧，用呢個圖咧作喺診斷啦、治療啦、養生咧，同埋做一個 holistic balance 嘅。我哋用個氣咧就做量度嘅指標咧，而嗰啲方法就係用四診啊，即係譬如把脈啊、望診啊、聞啊，呢啲咁樣。我喺呢度介紹多一個 concept 咧，就叫做實同埋虛。呢個係一個能量失衡嘅兩個指標嚟嘅。咁呢個咧，我哋講喺能量嗰度，如果喺某一個位置能量過高咧，我哋就會形容佢係實症；如果某一個位置能量過低咧，我就會形容為虛症。咁有時佢哋會一齊出現。所以無論係飲食啦，或者醫病啦，我哋都要睇下佢個 energy level 喺邊度高低。我諗同七輪，即係印度嗰個七輪嘅系統咧係一樣嘅。咁我哋再睇咗 energy 個高低之後咧，就再去平衡翻佢。呢度基本就係我個第一 part 嘅介紹啦。
So it'd be great to have Dr. Nitya speak to the same question now.
So I'll go back to the question 5 elements. And so what I would like to maybe explain from scratch is the philosophy behind the science. So it's based on a certain philosophy which says that the microcosm is the same as the macrocosm. So if you understand the macrocosm, you can understand the microcosm because they're also interrelated. The same things that make up the macrocosm make up the microcosm. The same forces that govern the macrocosm govern the microcosm. This is the basic understanding of the universe and the body, so to speak. So you have the understanding that the universe is made up of the 5 elements to roughly translate into English: earth, water, fire, wind or air, and ether or space. These are the 5 elements. Now the body is made up of that, and the body means everything, the animals, the plants, and therefore all the things that we consume as medicine or food, which may be plant in origin, which may be animal in origin, which may be mineral in origin. There is a way to understand what these things are made up of based on the 5 elements. And because the same 5 elements make up our body, they govern, the forces that govern our body can be in balance or imbalance based on what goes into the body. This is the basic, I don't know if I'm clear. This is the basic understanding. So the physiological factors are what are seen to be understood to be in balance or imbalance. So you have the 3 doshas for us, Vata, Pitta, and Kapha, which are again made up of the 5 elements. And therefore you have an understanding of how to change the balance of the factors in the body. So if you say that it's more difficult to say which element is in imbalance in the body, because it is a more, it's everywhere in the body. It's not something you can measure in that sense. But it's easier to say that the body is in disease or in balance based on the doshas which are in balance, because these govern your physiology. So if a certain function is not working properly, then you say, no, this dosha is it is not in balance. And then you treat through food and medicine and lifestyle, because each of the things are again understood through the 5 elements, and therefore how they affect the doshas. I mean, I can go on, but is it clear so far?
Yes, I wondered if you would want to talk about the question of taste as well in
Yes.
relation to the doshas and balance and imbalance.
Yes. So just for information, the kapha dosha is made up of earth and water. The pitta dosha is made up of water and fire, and vayu is made up of wind and space. And similarly, if you look at the tastes, it's interesting because if you look at a substance, it has many aspects to it. Rasa, guna, virya, vipaka. So the taste, its properties, what are the actions it has on the body, what is the taste of that drug post digestion, is there any other special effect it has on the body. These are the 5 ways in which we understand any substance. But the first thing we understand about it, and the first easiest thing that you can directly sense as a human being, is the taste. So the way to one of the ways to understand food or medicine is the taste. So we have 6 tastes, and those are sweet, sour, salt, pungent or spicy in one sense, bitter, and astringent. Astringent, I don't know how to explain. There is a Tamil word for it. Astringent is like what is it? Betel nut is astringent.
Something
Not clear.
anything that dries up inside of your mouth.
Yes, also astringent is a drying taste. Why is it drying? Because astringent is made up of earth and wind. If you go back to the 5 elements, wind is part of astringent, and vayu is something that dries up. That's one of the qualities of wind. So each of the tastes is also made up of the 5 elements. So sweet is made up of earth and water. Sour is made up of fire and earth. Salt is made up of fire and water. Pungent is made up of fire and wind. Bitter is made up of ether and wind. And astringent is made up of earth and wind. And therefore, one can understand from what elements make up these tastes, what doshas they will affect. So if you're looking at the first 3, that is sweet, sour, and salt, they all aggravate kapha or increase kapha and decrease vayu, wind. But the latter 3, pungent, bitter, and astringent, aggravate vayu and pacify kapha. And the 3 tastes with fire in them, that is sour, salt, and pungent, aggravate pitta, because pitta is by nature hot. That's one of the first qualities of pitta. And the other 3, which is sweet, bitter, and astringent, pacify pitta. So this is the basic chart, basic understanding of the 6 tastes and how they affect the doshas. And the thing about drugs is that drugs, meaning anything is a drug. Dhania is a drug. Dhania can be used in a decoction as medicine. Coriander seeds can be used in a decoction as medicine, and we use it in our daily food. So actually, one of the understandings in this system in this philosophy is that food and medicine are not very different. That they are the same. But there is a main difference, that food is predominantly sweet, sour, and salt. We don't eat bitter foods every day or in huge quantities. So predominantly the taste of food will be sweet or salty or sour, whereas predominantly the taste of a medicine will be spicy or bitter or, less pungent. So that is the one difference between food and medicine, but the way they are understood is the same. So everything you cannot, one of the things we tell our patients is you cannot take a medicine which is pacifying pitta and eat spicy food and eat very sour, salty food. Because on the one hand, you're putting in a substance that is pacifying pitta to relieve you of your disease. And on the other hand, you're ingesting something that aggravates pitta, which is defeating the purpose.
So, Anumitra, Shalini, should we move on to the second question?
I think that both doctors have begun to address this already in the previous thing, but can we discuss a little bit about how these 5 elements affect the body in various ways?
You mean the interaction of the elements, or how is it manifested in disease or just in the body? So let me rephrase it because we are really running out of time. The question seemed to be from Anumitra that what is the relationship between these elements and how it relates to the body, or how is it manifested in the body? Is that your question?
Yes.
食物同埋醫病都好啦，其實係每一個味道咧，就對每一個臟腑，即是話我哋食每一個味道，其實相對嘅臟腑佢嘅氣就會增加。我舉3個例子啊。第一個就係個pregnant woman， 即係大肚嘅時候咧，一開始我哋需要 excessive 多啲嘅氣去到肝嗰度，嚟俾 BB 嗰個筋膜同埋即係個腦部生長嘅。咁所以咧就多數會食酸嘅，即係頭3到4個月。咁另外一個就係喺病嗰度睇啦，譬如我哋感冒咧，我哋會食辣嘢嘅，因為病嘅時候咧，譬如中醫講嘅風寒啊，我哋當感冒嘅時候咧，個皮膚咧就會閂埋咗，咁食辣嘢會出汗。咁呢一個就係第一個例子啦。第二個例子就係BB 夜尿啊 ，BB 仔夜尿咧，有陣時當冇藥嘅時候，我哋就會用啲海鹽啊，就咁用鹽就醫咗嗰個夜尿。呢個係對嗰個 kidneys 嘅 deficiency。
I wonder if Nitya can address the same question.
So how does the 5 elements manifest in the body? That's the question, right? So for us, the 5 elements are the building blocks. They are physical things. So it's like, in a sense, many things, everything has some proportion of everything. So, the way we understand it, so for us, it is how do we perceive what is perceivable and understandable through logic, in a sense. So for us, the way we understand the way it is manifested is the 3 doshas. So for us, balance of 3 doshas is good health, and imbalance is a state of ill health. So for us, any action, any food, any substance, anything that is happening to the body is understood in terms of which dosha is impacted, increased or decreased, out of sync. That is also a very fluid balance. It's not any fixed balance. So it is affected by, for instance, time of the day, season of the year, the person, the age, the stage of the disease. So there is no, in a sense, right or wrong balance. It is a continuous dynamic sort of shift in the body that's taking place. And when that goes out of sync, you know, because you are not well. And the job of the physician is to understand what has gone wrong, where, how, when, why. So there are many factors that contribute to this understanding of disease, and therefore the road back to recovery.
I think this has been a very eye-opening discussion about both the elements, manifestations, and balance. We already moved into that. And I think we have time now for probably the last question. Edible Archives would now like to discuss the idea of balance and energy with respect to health. I think Dr. Nitya started speaking about that. So could we carry that forward? Maybe Dr. Chan will have something to say about that. When you talk about a healthy person, how do you think about the question of balance and energy?
我諗答呢個問題個關鍵咧，如果對一個健康嘅人咧，就係個時間。咁喺我哋日常嘅講話就係叫季節啦，時間同季節。如果對一個健康嘅人嚟講，因為我聽到佢嘅，我理解個問題就係佢對一個健康嘅人啊嘛，而家開始討論，咁就係點樣講咧？中醫有時間嘅醫學，幾多點應該食飯啊？幾多點要瞓覺啊？咁如果伸延到去就係每一個季節咯，即係譬如中醫有講嘅係秋冬要進補啊，春夏要做運動啊，出汗啊呢啲咁嘅。我想即係特別強調一點咧，就係佢另外一個就叫做 routine， 即係嗰個規範。咁我哋應該係為每一個人咧揾到佢屬於佢自己獨有嘅習慣或者規範啦。但係呢個規範咧係 dynamic， 即係一路喐緊嘅，同埋會隨住時間同埋季節會變嘅。呢個就係個重點。
Sorry, I have a question to Dr. Chan. My question is that it's not only the time and the timing and the season. Do you also I think space also, like where you are located, does it have any implication of with your routine and your balance? Because nowadays people constantly travel, but with each of the places that you are like do this travel, the space also has a equal kind of a role like time and the season.
Yes, indeed, space is important. 我答一答咧，頭先即係回應一下頭先嗰個醫生嗰個答案咧。我係理論多啲嘅，咁佢頭先答個答案咧，其實係一個好高階嘅，即係一個higher level of the answer。但係其實我哋兩個 share same thought 嘅，就係其實因為我哋起碼有5到6個原因，最少有3、4個原因同時影響緊一個病人。咁所以我而家咧就好似喺理論咁樣，就將佢分得好清楚。就分咗5個，就好似教即係小朋友咁樣講。咁但係一去到調整嘅時候咧，其實係好會考慮好多嘢嘅。而一個好嘅醫生咧，就係如果佢越能夠 manage 到越多，佢個計算越多，同埋佢越配合到時間同空間咧，佢就會做得一個更加好嘅決定。咁呢個就好 practical。所以我頭先個 presentation 係好theoretical 嘅，所以如果答翻最後呢個問題咧，會係由溫度啦，即係唔同地方嘅溫度啦，或者佢嗰個氣壓啦，又或者我哋中醫講叫6壬啊，就 six level 啊 ，six level 就係風寒暑濕燥火，咁係當地嘅一個特別嘅天氣點樣影響到人咧？主要去睇翻呢啲。作為一個指標，我見到個 email 嗰度咧，我留意到有一句經典嘅説話咧，就係上古之人其知道者發於陰陽，和於術數。咁好好啦，即係我唔知係咪即係你哋揾到嘅。咁我想 emphasize 一下最尾啊，和於術數。咁術數嗰個意思咧，其實就係數字。咁數字喺中醫咧其實係代表空間同埋時間。咁呢一個咧係進入到一個即係好高嘅 level 啊，因為我哋會同時即係醫生會同時識我覺得應該係要識風水啦，同埋一啲天文即係星系嘅變化，而去配合去做醫病同埋調理身體嘅。咁呢個和於術數咧就係咁嘅意思。咁但係呢個就好 advanced level。如果舉個例喺屋企咧，某一個方位係好污糟，或者係出咗問題，成日有細菌咁嘅情況咧，佢就會影響到屋企裏面特定嘅某一個人。呢個就係個例子啦。所以如果將個 scale 咧再擴大咧，一個人尤其是而家咧 即係好頻密去 travel 嘅人咧，佢絕對係會影響到佢個健康嘅。但係喺呢一度咁短時間，我哋好難即係去做一個好簡短嘅介紹。
I think this is touched on a very important aspect, not just of how people are moving around these days, but also the kinds of food that they eat. I'm sure there'll be lots to discuss in the future recordings as well. But I wonder if Nitya would like to say something to conclude this, and then Edible Archives can conclude the session. So Nitya, would you like to respond to some of these questions that have come up?
Yeah, I think I would like to reiterate in a sense what Dr. Chan said about time and season, because that's also very important aspect in Ayurvedic understanding of the body. I wouldn't say just medicine or treatment, but as a way of life. Because one of the, in fact, the first few chapters in our text do not deal with disease. It only deals with health. And it deals with what is good health, what is the basis of good health. And I think I have said some of these chapters to you, the first two of Dinacharya Ritucharya, where we talk about what is a good daily routine and what is a good seasonal routine. And if actually I feel that if this much is followed, then one can prevent a lot of disease. So if you're looking at preventive medicine, even in the understanding of something as devastating and new as COVID-19, you're looking at what season did it come up in, what were the symptoms, how did it change with the season, every wave. And therefore, what could we do? Like the Edible Archives, they beautifully said in the beginning that if we look at the body from as having been attacked by a virus or bacteria, we have no control. There's nothing we can do about it except feel helpless. However, we look at the body as how is it changing in response to the environment. That is something we have control over. So how are we able to achieve a balance in the body and allow it to meet whatever it meets and restore balance? Not that balance, you can never always be in balance. It will get disturbed. It will get disturbed simply physiologically, naturally from morning till night as the seasons change. So what can we do, which is in our control, to help to navigate this peacefully, in a sense, without causing too much disturbance to the body?
I think that we are out of time, but this could be a very good transition to our next meeting, which is on Thursday, to precisely talk about how this can be achieved. What is the meaning of routine in TCM and Ayurveda? What is the meaning of helping the body deal with whatever it faces through the day? And what are the good practices that we could possibly follow? I hope I'm staying with the questions, Anumitra Shalini. So there's still time. If you want to modify anything for next Thursday, you can send a mail as soon as possible. But otherwise, we can proceed with our Thursday meeting, which will be a little bit earlier. It's 8:30 Indian time, 8:30 in the morning. Yeah.
I think like we are doing good. I'll just say a couple of things just to end this thing and how we came up with the whole idea and all that, because like actually it just came like when we were doing our first thing in Kochi Biennale, it just came that every day we are changing our menu. So how to come up with templates which will help us to balance? Then we came up with these things, can we balance in 6 tastes? And according then as we do that, as we go deep into this, we just understood there are so many things to basically learn. And then we started also like when we went to Suzhou and we were interacting with people in Hong Kong and China, we realized that there are this whole thing is so similar. We are only like, actually it is so similar in so many things. Like actually all the questions when today both the doctors were answering, that we saw that the similarities are so much. So I think that we can take all our next questions, because we have come to the question of balance, which is actually both both of the doctors have actually said that both these traditions are actually about this balance, and I think we will gradually talk about this. And it actually came with like every day for 3 months we served a bowl which is balanced by 6 tastes. It was originated there, the question and the practice, and then I think we are into the practice now. So while we discuss all these things, we will be actually like, we are the learners here, where we are just coming with questions, and we want to learn more from the doctors and find a better balance, even with this two different set of like two different medical system. There is so much synchronization and balance. I think we'll gradually also go towards that.
Thank you.
So shall we end for the day? Thank you so much, Dr. Chan, Dr. Nitya. It's really a privilege and an honor to be able to work with the two of you. And we'll meet again on Thursday morning, 8:30 India time, which is 10:30 in Hong Kong. No, 11 in Hong Kong.